Alright guys, apologies about that. For some reason mic was not fully connected on. I'm not sure. I just had to disconnect and connect it back and then it was fine again. That was a bit strange with that. So sorry about I'm missing that little piece of commentary out on the start of the section. So let's just go back through that. So welcome guys to IG8Live Esports. We're on with Rapid PRIX Racing here, GP2 division right about now. And thank you very much, Johnny, for pointing that out. Otherwise I would have had absolutely no idea what was going on with the audio on that end there. But either way, I think we're good right about now, guys. So yeah, we're getting through a wet qualifying session here. 80 minutes started. We're down to 11.5 minutes. We have some of these guys get out on the intermediates. We have a few drivers, minimum at best, who try to do this on the intermediate tires. Most of them tried on the full wets. I see Scotty there got the fastest lap in so far, as I was trying to get that audio issue fixed there, but so far so good as we get on through. So let's see what's happening. So Scotty with a 141.0 so far. Let's try to switch this around to someone else running on the lap here at the moment. I think we're on with Nice Snapper in the Williams and see where he is. So at least close to half of the grid of the 18 drivers we have on the session have some lap times in, so we can work with that as we get on through the qualifying session here. So once again guys, apologies about missing that bit of the start. Didn't realize that was actually happening with the audio. It was kind of strange. It wasn't supposed to be happening. Everything was actually set to just be running as it is, but you'll have to just double check on that in the future there. But thanks to Johnny for pointing that out. Yeah, so we're back on here. So Scotty's still fastest in the session. Johnny Stokes was second fastest. He did it on the intermediates there now. Well, I think he's out on the intermediates there right now actually, because let's have a look at what am I trying to have a look at here. There we go. So best lap time that he did it on the full wets. I think he's now trying a lap on the intermediates. Yep, that's correct, as it is there right now. So let's see what that lap is going to look like as he finishes off pretty soon. But still currently second with a 142.6. That was full west. Darson currently third, 144.0. Not too far, I'm just about 2/10 away. So I think we're running good so far. Kind of a mix between the intermediates and the west, and I think it's getting more towards the intermediates being faster here on track right now, because the rain doesn't seem to be pouring as hard as you would expect here right now to run on the full wets to get a faster lap with it. I think it's still a bit tricky on the intermediates though with the standing water on track. So drivers have to just make that decision on what exactly they want to do here in the qualifying session. You can see everybody trying back this again and possibly on the intermediates here now to see where they're going to be at the end of this. And that was a 145.9 there for a Night Sniper on that lap that he just finished. Where is, I think we got LRC on a lap there. He just finished up with 145.1, just ahead of Night Snapper, not too far ahead there, but still quite a bit of time in. We're on with Rumax going through. He's on the full rest getting through this current lap here. And now he's getting to sector 3. So let's see where the Alpine driver finishes off with that. His teammate Scotty currently fastest here in the qualifying session, 141.0. And I think that's holding up pretty well, at least for now. I'm quite he actually got that lap in. It's the only 141 here in the session. Did it on the intermediates, but still he's held that lap from the start coming to this point. And we're going to switch over to James Owl as Rumax going back into the pits. We got James on the intermediates here running with the Haas. So let's see where his lap is going to be at the end of this current qualifying lap that he's going through. And I think he's getting through sector 1 here right about now. So still just a bit of way more to go before actually getting a lap time in. But just past half of the amount of drivers with lap times in, but still they're just a bit out. But I think we're going to wait till the end of qualifying, see what that's going to be like. We might be having a driver race, I assume possibly we will be, but still going to be they're going to just make it quite interesting to see where they all stand at the end of the qualifying session, which has been wet from the start coming to this point. I'm not sure if the rain has eased off in any point here right now. We still do have the standing water on track. It seemed to maybe have eased off, maybe just a little bit, but really can't tell too much on that. The drivers will be able to have a bit more feel on what's going on with the rain on track there. But for the moment, let's just work what we got here right now. So qualifying times, 141 still the fastest there with Scotty. Johnny Stokes still second fastest, 142.6. Darson third fastest, 144.0. We got Evan there fourth, 144.1. Only a 10th below Darson, so pretty close off. We got Yidi there 5 with a 144.6. That's a few tenths off as well. And just a 10th behind that is his teammate LRC there in the next McLaren down in 6th, so 144.7 for him. Night Sniper in 7th, 145.9. Rob in 8th, 146.7. Back into the pits, Maz Baron there in 9th right now, 146.7. I know I called the point sim, so it's just about 2 seconds off what the LRC had. So that's still not too far off, but we're looking pretty good here in terms of James Allen. Now he gets the fastest lap in at 139.7, just as Johnny Stokes got a 139.8, only a tenth below that. So second fastest for him. James gets first. The fastest lap time so far here in the qualifying session for the Japanese Grand Prix. So far looking pretty good, even for a wet session, getting a bit competitive out front there as these guys get their few final laps in here as we're coming down just below the halfway point now of the qualifying session. Got 6.5 minutes left. It is still raining on track, so let's see what that's going to lead to. Love-hate games down in the back here on track. See where he's up to in the Williams, possibly trying to get a lap in. Scotty now takes back provisional pole once again. A 139.4 now goes about 3/10 faster than what James did. So pretty impressive laps that we're seeing out front there, and those lap times are starting to improve bit by bit as we go through the qualifying session. So far so good as we have it. Let me just make one check on something. Yeah, just making sure audio is still good on that end as we get on through this. I really wasn't sure what the heck was happening with it. I had to just removed it from the streaming software itself and just add it back on just to get it back working again. That was kind of weird, and I've actually had to do that one before, but tend to have issues from time to time. We do have a few drivers out of this session, guys. I've just noticed there as well. Down at the bottom, Raceway out, Lister out, Lewis out, and I know Yeedy was out. So not to be able to get any more times in for them, but let's see where they stand. No Lewis, Lister, and Raceway will be down at the back of the grid to start this race off, but hopefully they can gain some positions off the start of the race. We'll see how it goes. Love Hate Games goes 142.7, puts him up to P6 right now. We got 3 139s on the grid there. James, Scotty, and Johnny Stokes looking pretty good out front. Let's see where these guys are going to be at the end of this and who's going to keep that provisional pole, because James took it back away from Scotty there and goes about 2/10 faster. And yep, it's looking pretty good. And welcome Graham to the chat there, good to have you in. Graham currently there in 13th on the grid, 148.8, and I think he's still back into the pace. Might try to get another lap in, we'll see what's going to happen. Precision Tom there on an out lap at the moment. I'm trying to go back to Womax here, who has not gotten a lap in here in the Alpine. As I said, his teammate, I think here is Scotty, up in second on the grid, as he now gets started on another hot lap here with very limited time left in the qualifying session, of course. So he needs to make sure that this lap he can keep it together and just get any sort of lap time in, just to put that car somewhere maybe in the midfield of the grid at least for the start of this race here. Getting into a bit of traffic, but that's his teammate getting out of the way there right now as he tries to get through this lap. And trying to keep it together as he goes through as well, because does not want to invalidate the lap in any way, because I think he's been having some trouble getting a lap together from the session so far. Looks like we do have some support for Raceway going last to first, I think, in the past 2 weeks. So I haven't been here in a while, guys, so I'm now catching up on things that have been going on here in RPR for the past few weeks as they got the season started. So we'll catch up on that as we get on through with this. We will, of course, from next week have the standings up on screen as well. Didn't get a chance to put that up. Sorry about that, guys, but we'll have everything sorted through coming into next week. We usually have the standings to add on to the screen there. So 3 minutes left in the session. We're still on Womax here. I'm still keeping on board. I want to see if he's going to invalidate this lap on the very final turn or not as he gets through that right about now. Back onto the start finish straight. Should be able to finally get a lap in here, and let's see what it's going to look like. And it's P4 for him at 140.5. So not a bad lap there. So that wasn't too hard for him now. Took a while to actually get that lap in and get it through together. So yeah, we still got a few guys getting out on laps right now, and a few of them still on hot laps as they get on through. Let's have a look what's happening at the bottom here. Looks like Masbaran has invalidated that current lap in the AlphaTauri. Currently 13th on the grid, 147.0. Graham currently 148.8, running in the Mercedes there. His Stevie at Precision Tomby down in 15th at 152.7. Not the best of time there, but might well try to improve that on this current lap that they're currently running. Let's get on board a bit with Graham here. Is he on a qualifying lap or not? Trying to have a look on that and see what the situation is. This rain is still as it is right now. I think it has eased maybe just a little bit, but it's only to the point where it's safe enough to run intermediates on track here. It's not fully going away for these guys to even get a chance to try out the pump-on tires here on the track. So if it is a try race, they'll have to actually just go straight for it into that session. Hopefully they had enough practice with it. We'll see what's going to happen in that case there. And as we get into the race session, we'll have a look and see what the weather's going to be like. But yeah, let's switch that back over there. So, see what's happening on track here. Looks like Precision Tom got a faster lap time in. His teammate now gets a faster time, so Graham now goes P11. A 144.0. Scotty now takes back fastest lap away from James. Also, he's back on professional pole with a 138.5 now. So track is getting a bit faster as we get off to the end of the session. Of course, guys, the important thing to note is that we're already down to just a minute now and under remaining here in the short qualifying session with Rapid PRIX Racing GP2 division. So Johnny Stokes now takes over professional pole. So this is going to be a switch by switch with these guys in the final minute here of qualifying. So Johnny now back on pole, 138.2, 3/10 below that. We do have Scotty there, 138.5. Really impressive laps from those two so far. James all there P3 right now, 139.2, just about 5/10 below that. Womack's currently P4, 139.7. Took a while to get that lap in, but finally they get it in. Darson currently P5, 139.8. Pretty impressive laps from those guys, all in the 138 and 139 so far. Then we got a 140 from Evan there, 6. Woolly Mammoth 7th right now, 141. LRC 141.4 and 8. Rob 142.1 and 9. And Snap 142.2 and 10. So really just a few tenths off on everyone's lap time so far. As we get on through this, I think James on a final out lap here, trying to get another lap in before this qualifying session comes to an end. Let's see if he's going to be able to take away with that professional pole, back away from Johnny Stokes, or at least take away second place from Scotty. Oh, and I think that's it for him. He didn't make it across the line in time to get that lap started, so that's going to be his final lap there. Rumax possibly can finish this current lap to try and get a fast lap in if he wants here, but I think he's retired from the session already, so I think that's going to be it for him. And we're waiting to see if anyone else is actually currently finishing a lap here, because if they are still running a qualifying lap, they will be able to finish that before they close out the session here. And we're on the bit of overtime, 2 minutes 30 seconds remaining for anyone still currently running on track to finish that off, and then we head straight into the race session itself. So it has been quite an interesting qualifying session here with our PRGP2 division. So far so good. Johnny Stokes does take back provisional pole, holds on to it. I think it's probably going to stay that way. And interestingly enough, Max Brown gets a way faster lap in, goes P3 right about now on the grid, 138.9. So he's going to be starting in the top 3, second row on the grid. That's going to be a pretty good start for him. James Howell, unfortunately, down to 4th now for the start here. Scotty will be starting 2nd, and I think Woman starting 5th there still. So it's still kept that way, and I think that's it. I think Evan is possibly the only driver on track still running a lap there. I'm not sure if he's doing a hot lap or not, because I haven't switched down on over to him, and I think we're just waiting for him to finish off and for LRC to get the score into the pits. And I think that's going to be it, guys. We're going to head straight over into the results here for qualifying, then go straight into the race session itself and see where these guys are going to be out on that opening lap, getting through sector 1 here at Japan. Yep, and I think that's it. Let's have a look at the qualifying results here. Also pretty good to be back here at RPR, so let's see what we got. Yep, so there we go. So Johnny Stokes on provisional pole here for the start of the Japanese Grand Prix, a 137.9. Pretty impressive lap for him. Scotty there will be starting 2nd on the grid. Mass Baron on that final attempt got a pretty good lap in. Will be starting 3rd. We got James will be starting 4th down to that. Womax got a pretty good lap. It took a while to get it though, but still will be starting 5th. Darson there will start 6th on the grid. Evan starting 7th. William will start 8th. We got Night Snapper starting 9th. We got LRC will start 10th. Rob starting 11th. Lovehead Gibbs will start 12th. Graham 13. We got Edie there 14. Precision Tom in 15. Lewis in 16. Lister 17. Raceway starting all the way down in 18th. And let's see if he's going to pull something off here that these guys do expect him to do from 18th and possibly get on the podium position possibly here. we'll see what's going to happen. But should be quite an interesting race. I think it's going to be a dry session getting through to the race itself. So we're waiting for that to load up here right now. These guys to get their race strategies all set up here in terms of tire strategy and fuel and whatnot. And we should be ready to go in just about 2 minutes on under here right now, guys. Okay, so getting started on the formation lap here right about now. Looks like we will be having a dry session for the race itself. So let's get tires on there. Have a quick look at the starting grid fully on as it is in terms of tires and what they're going to be starting on here as well. So as we have it, guys, it's going to be a 27 lap race here for the Japanese Grand Prix here with our GP2 division. We got Johnny Stokes starting in P1 there ahead of everyone. Scotty there will be starting second just alongside him. We got Mass Baron starting third on the grid. James Al will be fourth. Woodmax will be in fifth. Darson right there in sixth. Evan in seventh. Woody Mama starting eighth. We got Night Sniper starting at ninth. LRC in the McLaren will start 10. Rob will start 11. Love Hit Games down to 12 with this. Graham has to start 13. The Yeti there in the next McLaren starting 14. Precision Tom in the next Mercedes will start 15. Lewis there starting 16. Lister 17. And Raceway will be starting 18. So 18 drivers to get started here for the Japanese Grand Prix. And this is round 10 here, guys, for our GP2 division. And yep, we're actually caught in like just around halfway in the season right now. So let's hopefully another interesting race. That we've had quite a few interesting races with these guys before. So hopefully looking forward to another one again. Let's see what's going to happen when this race does get started. We do expect quite an interesting race start here as well for all these guys to get on through on that opening lap. So let's see how well it's going to go. A mix of strategies with the tires, as you can see so far. We got Johnny on the soft. We got Scotty there in second on the mediums. Then Mass Baron there on the softs. It switches back again to James on the mediums, Womax on the soft, Darson Evan on the mediums, and Wooly and Night Sniper soft and medium, then LRC on this soft, at least for the top 10. And still a bit of a mix going all the way down. Raceway on this set of hard tires down at the back of the grid. So I wonder what he's planning to do with those set of hearts, how long he's going to be running in the race with them. We're not sure as yet. We'll see how well that is going to go as we get started with this race. We're obviously going to switch this back over to position changes for you guys to have a look at that as we get started with the race itself. And yeah, let's see where we're gonna be at on that opening lap here, which we should be able to get through very soon. We're just waiting for everyone to get sorted on the grid. On the final driver Raceway in the Ferrari, they're getting around right now, and we should be all ready to go, and hopefully a clean start, hopefully a clean race all the way through. I'm not sure if you guys expect any safety cars. There could potentially be one, or maybe a VSC in this race. It just depends on how things are going to go and what the fight is going to be like out in front for the race win here. Let's see how well that's going to getting back out front here. So on board right now we got Johnny and Scotty here. Let's see what happens between these two as they get started with the opening lap of this race. And that is it. They're off there right now. Looks like they get a bit of an even start, but looks like Scotty's going to pull alongside of Johnny into turn one. This might get a bit interesting. Let's see how well that goes, as it's a bit tight getting through there. We might have a few guys getting a bit wide as well, but Scotty holds on to his position so far, with Johnny still leading the race. We do have Masburn still holding on to third, James in fourth, still Womack still fifth, all in the same positions as they are getting through. Love Hit Games has gained about 5 positions off the start, getting through turn one. Not sure he pulled that off. Raceway all the way up into 11th, I think, right about now. I'm not sure how he pulled that up, but so far so good for him, because he's working on getting his way up as much out in front as he can here, as he still get through the opening lap of this race. And so far so good, not a single evidence of possibly having even a VST or safety car at this point here. It looks like it's clean all the way through as we get on through that opening lap, still with everyone out in front holding their positions. Raceway and Lafayette Games, the two have gained the most positions in this race so far on the start. Lister gained about 4 so far there, as he's already up to 13th. I think both McLarens are together now 11th and 12th on the grid and following off behind each other going through. Let's see how that's working out. Johnny's pulling away up from Scotty a bit. He's now about a second ahead. Masburn trying to keep up with Scotty though in the Alpine there, and he's about 6 tenths behind, so he's doing a pretty decent job of actually keeping up and following on through on this opening lap. We're about to get into lap 2 pretty soon. Let's see how that's going to work out as they get on through here. So far so good. We're going to switch this back over to tires for a bit, and yeah, so everyone's still running on the same tires they started so far. Let's leave it at that at the moment. We're going to leave penalties on in case someone does get a penalty. Johnny, of course, with the fastest lap as they get on through into lap 2. Scotty just still behind him, running a second, 1.2 second behind, getting a lot of pressure from Masburn in the AlphaTauri just behind of him, as he's now getting way closer. Went down to about 2 to 3 tenths through into turn 1, has lost back another 2 tenths. So let's see what that is going to be like as they get on through this lap here. We got everyone with the first penalty so far in the race, a 3-second penalty there, possibly for track limits. I'm not sure as yet, but we'll have to look at that later on. Down at the back of the grid, looks like Yeedy getting a pretty good run behind Rob there, as he lost a few positions, trying to get back up on the grid if he can. We'll see how that works out for here. But Masburn here 7 tenths behind Scotty right now, a pretty close gap, keeping that within DRS range for when that does come online going into lap 3, which is going to be our next lap coming up pretty soon. But so far so good as this race has gotten started. We got everyone with a second 3-second penalty. Is now up to 6 seconds. Might want to watch those penalties, as that's definitely going to affect his position down at the end of the race. But so far so good as we got started. Night Snapper not having the best possible start, though, all the way down back to 18 and 23 seconds behind Precision Tom as he gets on through that lap there. Raceway all the way up into 9th right about now. Love Hate Games up to 7th. These two have gained quite a few positions on that opening lap as we got there getting on through, especially Raceway went all the way through up into the midfield before the end of sector 1 for as far as we could see. Masburn now getting a 3-second penalty, I think, for track limits there. He's trying to keep up with Scotty as much as he can, having a very difficult time as we now go into lap 3. We're going to have DRS come online pretty soon, and that's going to be a bit of an advantage for some of these guys running within a second of the car in front of them. There it goes. So DRS is now online. We're going to have that advantage to run with 2 tenths behind Scotty in the Alpine. Now let's see if he's able to pull an overtake off here. Going to still be a bit difficult to actually get past him, and has a bit of a problem there into the barriers on the side of the track, and that is the AlphaTauri out. So Masburn out of this race, and that possibly might just be a yellow flag or maybe just a VSC. Just depends what's going to happen. He's off track all the way down to the barriers on the side in the dirt there. So let's see what's going to happen with that situation as we get into still a yellow flag there in sector 1 for that incident there with Masburn. So far was running in a pretty good position though, but was starting to feel a bit of pressure running behind Scotty there, because they gain a penalty, and then just lost the I think maybe just lost the front end or maybe the rear end getting through sector 1s on those turns there, and it can be a bit difficult getting through that if you're not careful getting all the exits. So I think he might have just lost the car just a little bit, and that just threw him straight into the wall there. Unfortunate for Masburn, but he's now out of this. We're down to 17 drivers remaining. We're still running, no safety cars, no VSCs, nothing to affect the race so far as we get on through this. So Scotty still running behind Johnny here in the race, and the gap is now up to 1.8 seconds. So Johnny Stokes in the Aston Martin gaining and gaining more and more time out in front, and work to his advantage. So let's see if that's going to work. So we got Scotty now running second. We have his teammate now running in third. So both Alpine drivers are running onto a podium position, not looking too bad for them so far. Womack's driving without the helmet. I don't know if we're not giving a penalty for that, honestly. Still a bit of a glitch happens, guys. I do see that happen quite a bit. Yeah, but so 5.1 seconds behind his teammate. He's running there right now, and he's still trying to catch up to him. Let's see if that's going to work. Of course, remember, Masburn was between the two Alpines. He's now out of the race. That is now going to give Womack's time to catch up to Scotty out there. And Darson there running another 7 tenths behind. So let's see how that's going. And he's having some trouble as we just switch onto him. Lost the car, trying to keep it out of the wall here right about now. As he's now getting back going. Lister is just retired from the session. Not sure what happened to him down in the back. Let's have a quick look if we can here. Where is his car? If his car is still on track, I'm not sure. I think it is on track still, and it's right around here where Mass Brown went off. So it is a bit of a difficult portion on track here for these guys to get through, especially depending on the setups of the car. Can make it a bit difficult. So two drivers out just around the same location on track here right about now. Got Raceway is currently chasing after Woolly Mammoth. Now who's chasing after Love Hate Games out in front? Let's have a look on this tree and see what's going to happen here, because this is going to get quite interesting. They all have DRS zones, all have within the DRS zone of each other right about now, so they're going to have that advantage, except for Love Hate Games though. It's just going to be Woolly Mammoth and Raceway with the DRS advantage. I think Evan though has this still, as he's now coming behind, so they're within DRS range. Let's see if that's going to work in terms of getting an overtake done. But four of them chasing after each other here, trying to fight for positions, and this is getting very close to fighting for a podium position. Especially for Raceway, they're down in 6th. Let's see how far up the grid he is going to be moving as he gets on through with this, and he looks like he's actually he's coming on just behind. We do have the Red Bull of Woolly Mammoth trying to get around Love Hate Games here in the Williams. He does take it around to get by, getting into turn one around that turn there. So gets a pretty good position up here. Already trying to gain some time as he gets by there. We do have Raceway trying to get ahead of Love Hate Games here now as well. Some pressure from Evan in the Haas behind of him. So he needs to be a bit careful with that. Evan looks like he is holding on to that position there. Now Raceway is now down to 7. So he now needs to try and get back up into 6 to chase after the Williams in front of him. Let's see if that's going to work out or not. And looks like Yeedy is now out of the race there as well in the McLaren. So that's another driver out. We got 3 drivers out of the session so far. We got a bit of contact going on between Love Hate Games and Evan here. It looks like Evan gets up another position here, even with that 6-second penalty. Still gaining positions in this race. A lot looking too bad for him. We're on with Love Hate Games here right about now. See what the chase is looking like from his end. We do have Raceway coming behind of him, so he needs to be a bit weary of that. I just keep that in mind as he gets on through here. We're into lap 5 of 27 right now here for the Japanese Grand Prix, as we have Raceway now trying to get alongside him. And definitely looks like he might be able to get by here. Let's see if that's going to go into the next braking zone. Might have to let it go though. So getting through sector 3, he's holding on to 6 right now. Raceway is still trying to get past. And they do have Evan, who's now out in front of them, 8 tenths behind Woolly Mammoth, who's currently 4th. Woolly Mammoth, of course, have some time to catch up to the guys on the podium positions there, because it's about 10.5 seconds ahead of him. So let's see how he works on that. We got Raceway going around the outside of the Williams here right now into turn 1. Let's see if that works for him. Looks like he does have the pace and actually gets the position up. Works out pretty well for him as he actually gains that and gets up into 6th. Now going to chase after Evan, 1.5 seconds ahead of him out of the DRS range here. So he needs to just use the sheer pace of the car itself and maybe a little bit of ERS to possibly try and catch up as much as he can here. And we'll see how well that works out. But out in front, we do still have Johnny Stokes leading this race from the start up to this point. Has led the entire race. Hasn't taken a pit stop as yet either. Scotty there running in 2nd. Remember, those guys are running on different strategies in terms of tires. We got Rumax now running in 3rd after Mass Brown fell out of this race there. We got William Abbott now up into 4th. Evan now running in 5th. Raceway up into 6th. Love Hate Games down to 7 back here. We got Lewis running in 8th. We got LRC in 9th. Brigham in 10th. Darson 11. Nice Snapper 12. James down to 13. Precision Tom running in 14. Rob running 15. 3 drivers out of this race so far, but looking pretty good still for them. Evan here catching up to William Abbott by about 5 tenths. He's now 2 tenths behind of him. Now going to try to possibly get by the Red Bull here down this bit of straight, getting down through into sector 3. Well, looks like he get a pretty good overtake done. Absolutely no contact between the two of them. So he's now up into 4th. Now going to try and catch up to the Alpine in front of him, which is now 11 seconds ahead. So it looks like William Abbott was losing a bit of time there. Let's see if Evan in the house is actually able to catch up. 6-second penalty though, so it's going to affect his position down at the end of this race. Even if he is able to get onto a podium position here, might still make it a bit difficult for him to actually keep that position. We'll see how it goes. But so far so good in this race as we see. We got 15 drivers remaining, a decent amount of drivers still left from the 18 that we actually started with. And we've been keeping this going for a pretty good while so far. So lap 7 of 27 so far as we get on through this. They're going to take it down so a bit further on into the midfield. We got the Aston Martin of Lewis here trying to get past Love Hate Games in the Williams. So That Williams not having the best of luck as he's going a little bit wide there. Might end up getting a penalty. Needs to be careful about that. Now we're following on. Let's get on board with Lewis yesterday to see if he's able to get this overtake done because looking pretty good. Almost having a bit of a problem there. That's Rob. I think he's a lap down because he's about 54 seconds behind position Tom at the moment. Looks like James all gets a position off. A nice snapper down in the back of the grid there. But so far so good as he's trying to get a position as much as he can. Scotty out in front having some serious problems though with that car, trying to keep up with Johnny Stokes. And let's bring tires online because we might be starting to run into the situation of having some pit stops start to happen pretty soon in this race, especially with those drivers on the soft tires itself. They have to run a bit of a shorter stint than those running on the mediums there. Scotty running on the mediums, of course. Johnny Stokes on the soft tires, having that advantage right now to gain that amount of time off of Scotty. 3.1 seconds is what he's gaining. I really wouldn't count that to be a lot of time at this point here because I think Scott is only being slowed down just a bit just because of those mediums, but Johnny Stokes having those soft tires, and it's going to start to fall off on him pretty soon when he does need to start going in for that pit stop, because those tires are going to wear away pretty faster than the mediums that Scotty has on. We still have, of course, Raceway on his heart that he started the race in, and he's currently up into 6th position in this race. We're still on with Lewis here, still trying to get past Love 8 Games. Did make an attempt of in a few turns ago, but didn't actually get that done, so still running there in 8th right now. We still got Love 8 Games in 7th. Rob down in the back there, not having the best of race. We do have James Owl into the pits. A few more penalties in this race there as well, as we can see getting on through so far. We're going to take this back up to Raceway right about now. Let's see what's happening with him here. Chasing after William Ahmed, trying to get up into P5. Evan there, 9.3 seconds behind Womack. So he's gaining time right about now on that Alpine driver who might want to think about doing a stop at some point here in the session. We'll see when they actually decide to do that. Of course, both Alpines running just behind each other there. Not sure if they're going to try to double stack them in the pits or not. Just depends on what's going to happen, but they're running different strategies as well, so that's going to make it a bit more interesting because we have Scotty on the medium. Womack started on the softs. I think Womack will have to do a stop first here and just running a shorter stint. We'll see how that works out. The race was still 5/10 behind William Ahmed here in the Red Bull. So we got Red Bull versus Ferrari right about now going into lap 9. Let's see how that works out. Going down that start finish straight, looks like the Ferrari gets a better run down into turn 1, and he gets up into P5 right about now. Let's see if he's able to hold that position. So far so good for Raceway. He's now up into P5, has gained the most positions in this race so far. Wouldn't be surprised if he actually made it onto a podium position here from what we have heard been happening. So let's see what's going to happen. Of course, it looks going to possibly get driver of the day there as well. So see how that works out for him. And looks like those tires out in front with Johnny Stokes are starting to give just a bit there because the gap is now starting to fall off of them. Let's get on back down here to Lewis as he's currently chasing after Love 8 Games still. See that working out. In the meanwhile though, yeah, so Johnny Stokes out in front. Gap between him and Scotty has moved down from 3.4 down to 2.6 seconds. So it does show us that those tires are starting to wear away quite quickly right about now in terms of grip level. And let's see how much longer he's actually able to keep that lead before doing a pit stop right about now. Lewis a 10th only behind Love 8 Games at the moment. In the Williams, still having a difficult time though getting that overtake done. Yeah, and there are some points on track here that are quite easy to get overtake done, especially using the slipstream, DRS advantage and overtake if they can. So there we go. So I think he finally got it done. Lewis is now finally ahead of Love 8 Games and he's up into 7. So let's see if he's able to hold that position going through. So far so good as they get on through into the next lap here, and he's gained already almost a second ahead of him, so just need to get by apparently, and he's running a pretty good lap. So let's see how that works out continuing on into this race right now. LRC though in the McLaren chasing after Love 8 Games. He is just about 2/10 behind and looking to get by around the Williams if he can here. Let's see how that works out. So the McLaren might be looking to get up another position into the top 10 if he can. Already in the P9, just once again more position as much as he can. His teammate is out of the race there, so with just one McLaren left running, he needs to gain as much positions as he can. I think someone out in front falling down the order. I think that was Evan there. Might have had a spin or something, not sure. And I think, yep, he did. We just went past him there. He did have a spin. So Evan in the Haas just had a spin. Lost quite a few positions though, as he's now all the way down into 9th. Let's see what that's going to work out for him. We still have this McLaren of LRC chasing after Love 8 Games, trying to get by. Let's see if he's even able to do this within the next lap or so. Out in front, gap staying a bit constant around 2.6, 2.7 seconds. We got race leader now into the pits. Johnny Stokes is now pitting. This is going to put Scotty out into the lead here for the Japanese Grand Prix, and he's going to continue that for maybe just a bit. Womack's there, 18.2 seconds behind his teammate, being caught up by a racer who's now 11.3 seconds behind of him. Let's see what the decision from the team is going to be. When is he going to decide to pit there? Because his teammate is now leading the race itself. So let's see what's going to happen with that. LRC still chasing after this Williams here, as we can see, guys. So that has still not gone anywhere at this point here, as we're about to get into our next lap here with them as well. Let's see down the pit straight here if he's able to actually get this done. Using the slipstream just a little bit here right now, and might pull alongside him. Takes the inside into turn 1. Looks like he should be able to comfortably get this done and hold on to that position there. So that is Love 8 Games down to 7th right now. Still about 4 tenths behind, so he can actually gain the position back here if he does need to. We'll see how that works out for him. We are, of course, going to be working on setting a few things up. Has been a while coming. I'm supposed to actually get this set up already. We're going to work on setting up this stream in a way that we can get to have a chat with these guys at the end of the race and do race interviews, as we usually used to do quite a while back when we first did get started with this whole commentary streaming. Used to do a lot of race interviews with the drivers, on the podium driver, finishing drivers at the end of the race, but we'll not be able to do that on this session. We're going to try to do that possibly from next week when all the other streams getting on through, but not from this one, unfortunately. So actually we'll get to hear from the guys a bit and on their opinion on the race and whatnot. But I mean, we're just gonna have to get on through this and see what's happening. Out in front right now, Johnny Stokes out of the pits, and he's already trying to get back positions here. So he got back just behind the Bumax. He's now ahead of the Alpine. He gets back into second place in this race session already. Started on the softs. He's now on the mediums to go down to the end of the race. We're on lap 12. So those tires definitely will last to the end of the race as it is there right now. So not too bad for him. Doing a pit stop, getting down to third, gaining back a position before his outlap out of the pits here is actually over. So he's back into second. 17.2 seconds between him and Scotty right about now. He's going to try to gain as much time as he can here to make sure that when Scotty does do a pit stop, he can comfortably get back the lead of the Japanese Grand Prix. And I think that is going to happen because the gap is now down to 16.9 seconds. He's gaining and gaining as he's going on through. I'm not sure Scotty's going to do a stop at this point here or not. I think he might want to run a few more laps before doing a stop, going on to a set of softs and to finish up the race on that. And I think he's going to use that to his advantage to possibly try to gain back as much positions and time as he can, and possibly try to put the battle on towards Johnny out in front for the race win itself. We'll see what's going to happen with that. Womax, of course, still running on his tires that he started on. 11 laps on those softs so far. LRC, same situation there, as he's currently running in 5th. And we'll see how that works out for them as they get on through this race, because they're going to switch to the mediums to go down to the end, because they do have to use 2 different tire compounds in the race since it's a dry race itself. That's going to be a bit mandatory. So we have Bumax getting into the pits here right about now, about to get his pit stop going. Quite sure he's going to go on to a set of mediums, which he is. Quite a bit quick pit stop. He's going to get back out, and let's see where he comes back out on track. Looks like we have a Mercedes. I think that's possibly Graham. No, that's not Graham. It's actually, I think, Precision Tom in the pits there right now. He's getting out behind that Alpine, so let's see how this goes as Bumax now gets back out on track. Looks like he's going to be in 5th. Love 8 Games is only about 3 tenths behind him. He's going to try to get around, so he's not going to have any time to get those tires warm, but he's going to have to just go for it right about now, trying to keep P5 as he gets on through this. Of course, Love 8 Games, 12 laps done on those tires. He's going to have to do a stop, or either way, I think Bumax is going to have to try to keep that car there in P5 for now. Want to keep that position as much as he can, and just hopefully he's going to be able to get back podium position before this race is actually over here. We're on lap 13 right about now, just approaching the halfway point of this race, so let's see what's going to be happening down at the end. Not sure who you guys are rooting on for here for the win right about now. But let's see what's going to happen. Raceway onto a podium position already. Of course, has to do a pit stop though in that Ferrari there. 12 laps done on that set of hards. He can run quite a bit more before going on to a set of soft tires here. Let's see what the strategy play is going to be on him, because he will lose back a few positions here from where the gap is with Lewis and Womack behind of him. He might fall back behind of them, behind Love Hate Games, and maybe behind Darson as well, just depending on how long it does take to do a pit stop around here. And it does take quite a bit of time. I think you need at least between 18 to 20 seconds or so fully to get back out on track. And they have to look at that gap in terms of taking a stop and see how far they're going to be when they do get back out. So out in front, Scotty still leads this race. 15.4 seconds is what the gap is down to, with Johnny Stokes there running a second. Evan out of the race, unfortunately. Let's have a look, see if we can see what happened to his car, or where it's actually happened. And I think I can see what happened. Somewhere right there in sector 2, we got a yellow flag situation going on. There's this car at the side of the track right now. Might have lost the rear and threw that car into the barriers on the side. That is now 4 drivers out of this race. Out of 18, we're down to 14 remaining to finish off the Japanese Grand Prix here right about now. Let's take this back out in front and follow on. Let's see where Johnny Stokes is going to be. I'm waiting for him to see where Scott is. Oh, there we go. We got a Williams into the barriers on the side there. I'm not sure which Williams that was. Might have been Love Hate Games. I don't think it was. Might have been his teammate there, I think. Let's have a quick look. Was that Night Sniper there? And possibly was, because he's lost the left end plate off of that Williams, so might have to take a stop and change that off. But he just took a pit stop maybe a lap ago. He's on the hards to go to the end, so not going to go off too well. If he does have enough time actually to do a pit stop and get back out there in P12, so let's see what he's going to decide to do at that point there. I'm going to go down in P6 here with Darson right about now. Love It against 1.3 seconds behind of this. See what's going to happen with the rest of the cars who do have to do pit stops here pretty soon, so let's see when they decide to actually get that done. As it is right now, we're on to lap 15. Okay, so back on this, I just noticed Scotty getting a penalty out front there. He is leading this race and still under pressure. Of course, he knows he's under pressure right now with Johnny Stokes coming behind him in 13.2 seconds. That gap is dropping, and he can see that on his screen, how much that gap is actually coming down right about now. So feeling that pressure as he now gets a 3-second penalty, which is definitely going to affect his race finishing position here, as he's looking to get a podium position at the end of this. So let's see what's going to happen in that case. They're on with Lewis here chasing after Raceway right now. Both of these cars still have to do stops in this race. Waiting to see when they're going to be doing that. Probably going maybe around lap 18 or 19. I think they're trying to finish off the final 8 to 9 laps on the set of softs if they can here. Let's see what's going to happen. Scotty out in front, of course, still has to do a pit stop. Will be losing positions when he does do it. I think he's going to possibly just come back out just in front of Raceway. With a 20.6 second gap, I think this might be the perfect time for him to actually do a stop here. The gap is 20 seconds between Raceway and Johnny Stokes. That gives him another 12 seconds to deal with. So he definitely has enough time out in front if you look at that strategy play to see. Scotty does have time to go in and get back out in second. We'll have still a gap between him and Raceway. And of course, Raceway still has to do a pit stop as well. So that's going to put a bit more of a gap to the car, whoever is going to be in third behind of Scotty here. So I think he might want to take it into consideration at this point here and think about doing a stop within the next 2 laps to circumvent that situation from getting any worse than what it is right about now. So he still has a pretty good chance of finishing with a podium position at the end of this race, because we're now left with a limited amount of laps. I think we're down to the final 10 to 11 laps remaining here to go on down to the end of the race. So they do need to be a bit careful in terms of their strategy that they're currently running and watch what the gaps are looking like. So 0 safety cars, 0 VSCs in this race so far here at RPR GP2 division. Looking pretty good so far, as it usually is with these guys getting on through. Unfortunately, we've lost 4 drivers from the session so far, but you know, incidents do tend to happen still. Looks like we finally have Scotty into the pits. Let's see what's going to be happening with him as he's now getting back out on track. I want to see where he comes back out. We know Johnny Stokes already took over back the lead of the race. Scotty's coming out into second right about now. He's going to be on the soft tires. Let's see what the gap is going to be between him and Johnny Stokes, and that's going to be really interesting. It's a 9.4 second gap, and he's going to try to break that gap down as much as he can with these fresh soft tires within the next 10 laps. Is what he has currently to make sure he can get ahead of Johnny and get ahead by 3 seconds as well if he does want to keep the race win at this point here right about now. Raceway 13 seconds behind him, still has to do a stop. So does Lewis there, 1.8 seconds behind Raceway, the Ferrari as well. We'll see how that strategy works out, but so far so good. Round down with the back there in 13. Looks like he's within a second of Night Sniper, possibly trying to get by, losing a bit of time there as well. And gaps are starting to form just a bit as we get on through this. So 9.4 second order down to 9.3. Trying to have a look if Scott is gaining time or losing time as he chases after Johnny Stokes now for the lead of this race. And see what's going to happen in that case as we get on through this. So it looks like he might just be gaining time. Still has to be careful to make sure he doesn't gain another penalty in this session here on at least. Graham there hasn't taken a stop in this race as well so far as it seems, running P10 and 16 laps on those mediums. So he might be looking at taking a stop here pretty soon. I think he's going to go down towards P11 for him when he does get back up the pits. So I think he's going to just work his way from there and possibly just try to keep that car into the top 10 going down to the end of this race. Night Sniper with another 3-second penalty there so far. And we can see our gap starting to go under 9 seconds here right now. So looks like Johnny Stokes is going to be under some pressure coming down to the closing laps of this race right now. Because Scotty is gaining time bit by bit on each lap as he goes through here right about now. He's gaining a few tenths per sector, which is really going to help him out in terms of catching up to Johnny Stokes out in front and possibly challenge him for that race win out there. He still has a pretty good chance of getting second place on the podium here. We'll see how that works out for him. Raceway there, still running there in P3. We got Lovely Games and Lewis there into the pits right now. They're getting a change of tires on. Both possibly going on to a set of soft tires to get out back here. And I think that's what we're going to see happening. They're going to use that to a bit of their advantage as much as they can as they get back out. William moves up into 7th right now as Lovely Games is still in the pits getting back out. LRC actually gains a position there as well. Looks like Graham finally doing a pit stop here as well as he is about to get back out. And on his set of soft tires as well, so let's see how that's working out for him. Okay, it's back on with this. Looks like we have a few drivers took some pit stops, and maybe I was off on the mic there for a second. Alright, so let's see what's happening. So no Raceway took a stop. Darson took a stop there. Let's see what's happening out in front. Looks like Johnny Stokes still leading the race. I'm going to switch on out in front just a bit here, see what's going on. So Raceway here chasing after Lewis, and this is for P4 right about now. Johnny Stokes still leading the race, 9.1 seconds behind him. We do have Scotty still chasing him, and looks like Scotty's now not gaining any more time. He's gained just about a few tenths, and he's keeping that constant right around 9 seconds there. Got just about 7.5 laps remaining in the race. Let's see how it's going to go down to the end of this. Womack's there still third, 29.5 seconds behind those two out in front of him. Lewis there running 9.1 seconds behind Womack. He's in P4. Still stands a pretty good chance of possibly catching up to the Alpine in front of him to get another position. Raceway here currently P5, still trying to get out in front onto a podium position if he can. I so that's going to work for him. Darson running just behind of him there, and so both Ferrari 5th and 6th, not too bad. 11 seconds separate them though. Let's see what's going to happen in that case as we get on through this session. Now Raceway is 6 tenths behind Lewis there. Trying to see if he's actually going to be able to get by here or not. Down to about 5 tenths. Trying to avoid going wide here, but does go a little bit wide. Does need to avoid penalties at this point here right about now as well. So let's see how that works. I think he does have that overtake on just a little bit. Took it off for a second there, and using as much of advantage as he can here is getting on through this. Got Scotty down to 8.3 seconds right now with the gap, so he's gained about 8 or 9 tenths so far in the last lap that we've had a look at him there. On still with Raceway here, down that start finish straight, getting into the next lap. Let's see how well this is actually going with the two of them. Down to 3 tenths, almost getting into turn 1, so not close enough to get an overtake done, but still close enough to keep it at a point where he does have the DRS advantage to carry on through into the next lap. So I think he's going to continue on with that, and let's see how that's going to work out for him. But so far so good as we got it going through. Still 14 drivers remaining to finish off the session as we have it right now, so I don't think we're looking too bad in terms of getting all 14 to actually get across the finish line here right about now. Johnny's still leading out front, 9 laps on those mediums. Scott is still in second, 8.3 seconds is what the gap is. Those soft tires are not working fast as he would expect here right now in terms of him gaining time and trying to challenge Johnny there for the race win at this point. So it looks like Johnny Stokes stands a pretty good chance of finishing P1 in this race. We'll see what's going to happen. Scotty still might be finishing second on the grid. Womack looks like he could finish third. Lewis and Raceway just behind of that. Let's see if that's going to change anything or not. That's a 6.6 second gap now between Womack and Lewis for P3. Of course, Raceway chasing after Lewis there in the Aston Martin as much as he can. So I think it's about a 5-10 gap is what they have right about now, and it's going to be dropping down a bit more as we continue on towards the end of this race into lap 22 right about now. I think our race leader just went into. And looks like Womack gets a penalty, so that is both Alpine drivers now with a 3-second penalty each. I'm not sure how well that's going to go over with them. We're going to bring penalties online just so you guys can have a quick look at that. James Hall 12 laps on those hard tires there, so not as fast of tires as you would like to be on, but still running in P9. Not the worst possible position to be in at this point here. Lewis here trying to get past Raceway right about now. Let's see if that's going to happen here or not. Raceway holding on to P4 right about now. Got past him. Doesn't want to give back that position, but I think the Aston Martin driver trying to fight him back for it. And Raceway gets a penalty right now, so quite interestingly enough, we got 3 drivers out in front with penalties. I think who's Darson there as well, and he makes 4th with that. And the 3 final drivers down in the back there with penalties. So let's see what's going to happen. Most of them I think are 3 seconds, but we'll have a look in just a bit and see what's going on track. So Raceway definitely feeling a lot of pressure in this race apparently in terms of trying to get a podium position here. 5.2 seconds now separates him from Womack, who now has a 3-second penalty, so he still stands a pretty good chance of getting onto a podium position here. Of course, Lewis there still chasing after him, only a 10th right now. He might be able to get his position back here. Needs to be a bit careful to avoid contact with the Ferrari in front of him, of course. And now getting into the next lap. Let's see how well this actually works out, because he might have a good run against Raceway down that start finish straight as he's trying to get away as much as he can there. And we have a safety car. Interestingly enough, Precision Tom is out to the race. Not sure where that incident has actually happened, and I think it's happened right there in sector 1, but his car probably is stuck on track. Let's have a look with Rumax here. I think we should be able to have a look. Yep, I think the car is definitely stuck on track, which is what caused the full safety car at this point in the race. And I think it's already disappeared, so we're not going to be able to have a look at that. Now this is going to make things quite a bit interesting, because we might have a few cars who might want to decide to do a pit stop at this point here, just depending on what the gap is to the car behind them. Let's see what's going to happen. I'm quite interested to see if Johnny Stokes decides to take a stop at this point here. Okay, they might be fighting off for fastest lap as well. We already got James Allen and Woody Mammoth into the pits. They're going to definitely get onto a new set of soft tires here. We do have the race leader Johnny Stokes into the pit lane right now. Let's have a look if Scotty's going to go in as well. He is going to go in as well. So this is going to make things quite interesting as they all get back out on track here. So Johnny Stokes has done a pit stop. Scotty has done a pit stop. They're going to be very close on behind each other on that safety car restart going down to the end of the race. I think this is going to make the final few laps of the race quite interesting to watch. As we get around to this, we got another 2 laps or so under that safety car to go possibly here. We'll see what's going to happen in that case. But yeah, Johnny's still leading. Scotty now going to get back out. He's going to be able to catch back up to the Aston Martin. And we actually get to see the Aston Martin safety car in this one here. I think this is the first stream we've actually had the Aston Martin safety car here out on track. So looking pretty good so far. Okay, so quite interesting enough, it's an Aston Martin leading the race there as well, so I think they're quite happy about that as a team itself. So let's see how this one will continue. Yeah, so gap under a second between Johnny Stokes and Scotty here, and it's going to stay under 5/10 at least before this race is ready to get back started, which is already back at that already. So Womax now in P3, 13 seconds behind his team, but he's going to be able to catch up. I don't think he's done a pit stop though. That's the interesting thing here. Womax has not done a pit stop. I think he was afraid of letting Raceway get ahead of him, but Raceway now P4, he's still on fresh soft tires because he's not on a stop either here. 4 laps done on them, 5 laps done for Lewis so far. He hasn't done a stop either. Darson there didn't pit either. He's now in 6th, so 4 laps on his tires. The rest of the drivers behind that, most of them have done a stop. We'll see how this is going to work out after the safety car goes in, because I think this is going to make it quite interesting. See what's going to happen as we get around to this. So I think we're currently on lap 24, about to go into lap 25. I think we might possibly just be looking at lap 26 and 27 of racing. Hopefully we can have lap 25 as well if the safety car does go in at the end of this lap, but I don't think it's going to be happening. Trying to have a look and see if that's going to be happening here right there, but no, I don't think so, as that safety car is still running quite strongly out in front of Johnny Stokes right now. Yep, so definitely looks like we're gonna go one more lap here under the safety car, and that's gonna be at the end of lap 25. This gives us just precisely 2 laps of racing to see before this race is actually over. So gonna make it quite interesting for that final 2 laps and see how well these guys are gonna fight for positions here going down for the race win. So let's see what's going to happen in that case as we get around through sector 1 on lap 25 here right about now. Got an Aston Martin safety car out. We got an Aston Martin leading the race at the moment. His teammate down there in 5th, so not looking too bad in terms of points. Of course, Alpine running 2nd and 3rd in this race. They're looking pretty good at getting some points as well. Haven't had a look at the standings. We'll have a look at that on the next race that we do stream with these guys next week. That's going to be round 11. I'm not sure which track it is yet. Didn't have a look at that to keep in mind as yet. So just see what this is actually going to finish up. I think we can have a quick look at that though. Let me just have a check what is happening next week at this point here. Oh, it's going to be the Russian Grand Prix next week, so going to be a bit interesting with that. See how that works out. Oh, we have a fun track to go on there for the Sochi Autodrome. Okay, so I think running into sector 2 right about now. Should be finishing off the safety car here on this current lap. We'll get back racing and see who is going to take the win for this race itself here. So literally just a few minutes of racing left before we close off this race. 13 drivers left in this for the 18 that we started with. Full with qualifying session. Eased off to these guys running on the intermediates on that session. But still, dry race with that. They're changing up quite a bit. Safety car coming down to the final few laps. Safety car is going to be in on this lap here. And we're about to get back racing. Let's see how well this is going. A lot of weaving going on just behind here with Johnny Stokes and Scotty there. Let's see who is going to get a better start getting after that safety car goes in. Johnny Stokes, of course, going to hold back the grid just a bit here. The safety car goes away now. And he's going to be the first one to control when they go. And I think he's already gone for it here. Getting through the final 2 turns and getting back to the start finish straight. Of course, Scotty there chasing after him as much as he can. Raceway there 1/10 behind Womax and the Alpine. He's trying to get past him, get into a podium position here if he can. We're going to switch this on over to penalties by itself and keep it at that. See how that's going to work out with drivers in terms of finishing positions in this race right about now. Raceway still in P4. Womax holds on to his position as they get on through. Johnny still holds on to the lead. 8/10 behind with Scotty chasing after him. Let's see how that's going to continue going through the final 2 laps of this race. And I think it's going to hold. Johnny Stokes already gaining some time out in front. So I'm going to switch on over to the Ferrari Raceway, see what his gap is towards Womax there. And still a pretty close gap that he currently has, but he needs to break that down just a bit if he wants to get ahead. We do have Lewis in the next Aston Martin though. Chasing after him very strongly right about now, 3/10s, and he might be looking at getting an overtake done before getting into lap 27. This is one chance getting through that start finish straight into turn 1 for the final time before they can try to get an overtake done on that portion of the track. So let's see how that's going to work. Looks like Raceway desperately trying to hold on to that position, fighting with 2 Ferraris right about now. This might have a bad ending to it, just depends on what happened here. But Raceway still holding on to P4. He's on the outside going around, and then actually takes back inside. So Aston Martin still holds on between this. He's only a 10 behind, so this is going to get quite interesting with quite a few cars chasing after them. And Raceway trying to squeeze Lewis a bit as much as he can here. Looks like Lewis is getting ahead, has a bit of a better pace, and they're about to get into the final laps. Johnny, of course, getting the fastest lap so far as to get on through to that. So Lewis now moves up into P4. No penalties on his end. 2.4 second gap towards Max out in front with a 3-second penalty. So he's looking at finishing on the podium position if he can. He needs to hold that position for 1 more lap in order to get this done though. And he's holding it so far through turn 1 with a 3/10 gap towards Raceway behind of him. And that's going as well as it can at this point in the race. Willie Mamet, they are down in 7, chasing after Darson. Let's see how well that's going. So both Ferraris are holding on to P5 and P6. I think they're trying to keep that as much as they can getting through this race session here. Let's see what that's working out for them. I think out in front we're going to switch this on over because Scotty is now about 3 to 4/10s behind Johnny. So this is going to get quite close between these two, of course, with Scotty having a 3-second penalty. Doesn't stand a chance of keeping the race win here unless he gets by and makes Johnny get a penalty there as well. It's only a 10 between the two of them. It's going to keep that close going all the way to the final turn. And we're on the final lap here for the Japanese Grand Prix for RPR GP2 division. So let's see if they're able to hold this on through. Looks like Johnny Stokes might actually be able to hold off the lead as they get on through this final sector of the track. And so far so good. He's led majority of the laps in this race so far. Looks like Scotty's trying to pull around the inside, and he might be able to pull this off in terms of getting across the line P1. And they're going to go side by side down into the finish line. Looks like Johnny gets across the line P1. Either way, takes the win for the Japanese Grand Prix. Scotty finishes second on the podium, even with a penalty. We'll keep that. Womack's about to get across the line P2. Will lose it though to Lewis, who takes away that because of a penalty situation happening. And 1 3-second penalty actually causes that. Love Games finishes in P5. James Hall will take 6. Darson taking 7th as they get so close across the line. And then we got Willie Mamet there finishing 8th. We got LRC should be able to get across the line, take 9th. Raceway all the way down to 10th right now. Not sure what happened to him on that final lap there. And I think that's about it for the top 10. We'll have a final look at the preliminary results before that goes into with the swords. And see if anything changes as we go on towards next week. But let's have a quick look. Lewis gets driver of the day on that one there. Raceway has lost out on it as after losing quite a few positions on the final lap. But the race, something did happen. Naturally probably had contact with someone, maybe had a spin. But let's see what's gonna let's see how that worked out for him. Alright, so we got 2 Aston Martins on the podium here. So Johnny Stokes takes the win, of course, for the Japanese Grand Prix. 129.7, fastest lap in the race. Scotty takes 2nd place on the podium. Lewis takes 3rd place on the podium. Not a bad finish for him, as Womack's has to go down to 4 just because of a 3-second penalty. Lovely Games will take 5th for that. We got James Howe finishing in 6th. Darson takes 7. William Hammer takes 8. We got LRC finishing in 9th. Raceway in 10th. Graham takes 11 there. Night Sniper 12. Rob in 13. Precision Tom, I think didn't finish the race there. 14. Evan 15. Yeti 16. Lister 17. Matt Baron there. First to go off in the session. 18 there, unfortunately, but quite an interesting session there. Red Rapid Pixel Racing GP2 division. Hopefully we get to join these guys again next week for round 11 at Russia. So thank you guys for joining on the session. Please guys don't forget to make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and make sure you guys leave a like on the video. I'll see you guys on the next stream.